Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing good. If you are new, I hope you consider subscribing, especially after this video, because I'm pretty known for my traveler's notebooks. And as I mentioned last week, I was actually supposed to start this last week, but I didn't get a chance to. My mom requested a traveler's notebook and she wanted it for her pastor. She's gonna gift it to her. So I told her I would make her one, and since she doesn't watch my channel, I figured this would be a good opportunity for me to do it on video, everything from start to finish, so you guys just can kind of see the process and, you know, all the love that I kind of just put into my TNs. Now, normally if I'm not filming, I definitely I guess you could say I'm a little more on the slower end to work on it, because I really like to take my time with these planners. I really like to make sure that they're extremely perfect. But either way, I'm going to show it a lot of love and I'm going to make it as pretty as I can for her. I did set up my camera so that you guys can see me a little bit closer, so hopefully it works out. I did test it, so I think it's at a pretty good angle. If it looks a little crooked, sorry about that. But let me show you guys all of my tools. If you guys are new to my channel, again, welcome. I hope you consider subscribing. And for those of you guys that have been with me for a while, welcome back. I've shared quite a few tutorials on how I make my TNs, but it's always nice to give you guys a little refresher, especially because, you know, I try to perfect my method. Every single time I create one, I add new types of folders. The way I cut things may be different, so, you know, it's always nice to do a little refresher. But yes, I'm so excited. I know you guys are definitely going to be excited about this because you guys love when I make my traveler's notebooks. I'm pretty popular with them, and I'm excited because I'm also going to be having a spring and Easter sale. So make sure you guys look forward to that at the end of this month. I'm so excited, you guys. I started working on them, and they already look so pretty. Like, just looking at the covers alone, it excites me, and I love it. But let me show you guys all the tools that I usually use. These are always my go-to tools whenever I'm starting with the covers. So today we're going to do the cover, and then we're also going to be cutting out the dashboards and possibly the folders and page markers if I have time. I know this video is already going to be kind of long, especially because the cover is going to have to be, I'm going to have to make it double-sided. Usually I like to use a paper that's already double-sided, but these are single-sided, if that makes sense. And so I have to make it double-sided, and that takes a little bit longer. So we'll see how much we get into this video, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you guys grab your planners, your craft supplies, whatever you want to do to make this video a lot more fun, and just kind of craft along with me. So starting with the tools, the first thing I absolutely need is my scoreboard, you guys. I love the scoreboard. I can't live without it. It's part of me, and it's definitely one of my go-tos. I only use it for the scoring. I don't really use it for the paper cutting. I should, but I feel like I can never really get it right with that one. And I'm also used to using my own, you know, paper trimmer. I just love using my Fiskars paper trimmer. It cuts so beautifully, and it's nice and big, and it works on all of my planners. I always have a large pair of scissors, a small pair of scissors, especially to cut any like little pieces of the edge of the paper. I have, of course, my scoring tool, which comes in my scoreboard. I have a pencil, of course, must need, and an eraser. I also have my two little corner rounders. So whenever I'm doing my page markers, I sometimes like to round my corners. So that's why I pull out my bigger one and then my smaller one. Of course, you guys know I can't live without my ATG glider. I love this ATG glider. I'm obsessed with it. And then, of course, the collection that you're going to be working with and the notebooks that you're going to be working with. So, I decided to do a standard size traveler's notebook for her, and so this one just has like 4 little notebooks. I did 2 of the grid and then 2 of the lined paper, and then she can just kind of use them however she wishes. And then this is going to be my cover. So I do have a little collection that I'm going to be using, and it's the Flora collection. That's this one right here. but I only have 4 papers left, 4 full-size 12 by 12 papers left. So these are going to be my dashboards, and so then I went to my own stash, and then I was like, let me see what I can find that matches nicely. So this one is going to be a page marker. This one is also going to be a page marker. This one is going to be a folder, and then this is going to be my cover. You guys, I love this paper so much. It's so pretty, and I feel like it goes good for like a older woman. Hopefully she likes florals. I asked my mom what she likes, and my mom's like, I don't know, just create whatever. And I was like, oh my god, that is not helpful. But so I'm trying to, you know, think of an older person and something very casual and chic. I'm gonna try to make it as adult-like as possible, since she is a lot more older woman. So I'm not really sure what she's into, but hopefully this works out. But let's go ahead and get started with my cover. Usually I like to sit down because I like to be really close to my mat, but when I'm filming I kind of like to see my camera and what I'm doing to make sure I'm always staying in frame for you guys. So the first things first, we're gonna figure out what size my paper needs to be. I get a question all the time on where to score my lines for my covers, and the answer really depends on your notebook. So if you have a smaller notebook, it's going to depend on that. If you have a larger notebook, it's going to depend on that. It really all depends on the size notebook you're using. So what I like to do, I pretty much know I'm going to end up taking up this whole paper. So first I like to cut out my height. That's usually how I start. I like to cut out my height, and let me see, this is not the one this one's broken. Hold on. Okay, I had a whole bunch of pencils and I have no clue where they went. They're not in my little pen box, but anyways, I'm gonna have to keep looking for them. So the first thing I like to do is figure out my height. I always like to leave a little border. One, you know, it just gives room for whatever I'm gonna be adding in the inside, like the pom-pom trim or scalloped edges or whatnot. And then, you know, I just want to make sure that there's always like a little border around it. So the border, it depends however much you like. I'll just kind of show you guys what I'm doing here. So this notebook is approximately 5 inches wide. So I'm just going to go ahead, and then I'm going to take my second notebook. This is how I like to do it because this is how I figure out where my scoring is going to go. So then I like to place that on there. So that's what it looks like. So then I just kind of look in the middle. I'm really bad with measurements, so I do apologize if I don't know how to explain the measurements, but hopefully my method helps you out. Then I just kind of try to see where my lines meet in the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this over a little bit. And I think I'm going to end up using this line right here. So we got the 5 inches, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be the line number 4. So then I'm going to go ahead and scoot this over a little bit. So we got 7. And then we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use these 2 lines right here. I'm just going to go ahead and mark a little line right here, just so that I know that's exactly where I'm scoring. Where is it? I think it's right here. Right? Is that right? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do it, and then I'll show you guys how I figure it out. I like to make sure I leave enough space. I'm using 4 notebooks, and then eventually it gets bulky because of the decor that I use inside. So just to kind of show you guys a little bit closer, those are my little markings right there. So a little trick that I like to do is, my first marking is right here. It's a little over 5 inches. So then I'm just going to bring my paper over. I'm going to line the second marking to the first line of my ruler. And then I'm going to bring this over. And then if my edge of the paper lands on the first marking, then I know my paper is completely even, which it is. So I love that. That's a little trick that I just kind of taught myself, again, because I don't really know how to read the ruler. My dad always told me the ruler is going to be really important, and I never listened. So but there we go. So I have my first 2 lines. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my height. And so I already know I'm going to end up using the whole width, so I don't need to cut off anything from the edge. So now we're just going to figure out our height. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and place this. And let's see, it's a little over 8, it's almost 8.5 inches. So I'm just going to take it to 8.5. So I'm just going to cut it at 8.5. I'm going to move this over and then 8.5. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut. Hopefully I explained that, you know, pretty good. Again, all you have to do is put the notebooks and try to see where, you know, the notebooks can meet, depending on how much space you want. Just put your markings and just make sure they're nice and even. That's pretty much the only way I can explain it for you guys. Because again, I can't really give you guys the exact measurements. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the top. I'm just going to go ahead and place my paper here. Again, it always helps me to have my notebooks on my paper so that I know I'm doing everything correctly. So I have the number 5. I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. This little line right here. Sorry, my head's going to kind of probably get in the camera frame a little bit. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my second notebook, and then I have the number 7 inches. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to mark my little lines. And there we have it. So now I'm going to go ahead and score. I got to try to remember to keep my little mat straight. I'm going to go ahead and take my scoreboard. I'm going to lay my paper down. And then we're going to score our line. So you want to put your paper at the very, very edge of your scoreboard. And then you want to make sure that you move it to where you know you're going to score your lines. So that looks about right for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and score once, twice, and 3 times. Once, twice, and 3 times. As you can see, everything is nice and even. So on this scoreboard, it says that my line is 7 3/4, if that helps. For those of you guys that know how to read the ruler, that's exactly where my measurements are falling. It's 7 3/4. Oh, that kind of tells me. And then over on this side is going to be 5 1/4. Right? 5 1/4. Yeah, I think that's right. Anyways, if that helps. So now that I have that, now I'm going to erase my little markings because, you know, I like it to be as professional looking as possible. Now that I already know, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. Perfect. So now I'm going to take my little cover and now I'm going to fold. This is going to be such a pretty cover. And do the same thing. And then we're going to fold. Right? Beautiful. I always love to look at it this way. You know, to make sure everything looks nice and even, feels even. You know, again, you can always go to make sure that everything is where it needs to be, and it is. So, really cool. Now, the only problem is it's not double-sided, so we're going to make it double-sided. So now that I know my height, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut down my height. It's going to be 8.5 inches. Perfect. So now I'm just going to go to the 8.5, mark it. Sorry if I'm a little shaky. I just had some Starbucks coffee, went to Marshall's with my sister-in-law, and we stopped at Starbucks. Anytime I have Starbucks, my hands get a little shaky. And I also had an iced Americano in the morning, so that's a lot of coffee. Alright. So now I'm going to cut. Perfect. Right? Never throw out your scraps because you can always use them. So now I'm going to go ahead and again do my lines. So we're going to use the same method. Now the only thing is you want your You want your outer pieces, so we're gonna cut 3 pieces. We're gonna cut piece number 1, piece number 2, and piece number 3 to place everything down together so that when it folds, there's no wrinkles, no dents, or anything of, you know, that sort of nature. So I know that my lines are here and here. So all I do is I go to the line that I creased, which is this line right here, this line right here, and then I'm gonna go over 1 line. I'm gonna go backwards 1 line, okay? That way my paper, when I cut it, it's a little shorter, and you'll see why. It'll fit my cover perfectly. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna do the same thing up top. So I'm gonna go 1 line over, and then 7, and then 1 line over. Right? Everything looks nice and even. So now I'm going to cut, and then I'll show you guys what I do with the middle piece. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. You don't want it to be exactly even, because otherwise it's gonna end up being a little you're gonna end up cutting anyway, so you might as well just cut evenly this way and avoid doing that. So now that we have the middle piece, all I do, I have my little trimmer, right? And you guys see this white line right here. All I do is I go over to that little white line, and I just take off that little piece, just a tiny little piece. And this should fit my middle crease evenly. So let me show you guys what I mean. So here we have my cover. First things first, that's why I like to have little scissors, especially when your blade is already starting to get a little worn down. You want to cut out any little like pieces of paper that are sticking out, because you want to make it look as clean as possible, as professional looking as possible. So we're just going to cut any little edges. I always put my paper on the edge, and look at that. Look at how perfectly that fit just by me moving over 1 line. If I was to cut it extremely even, it would end up on the crease, and then I don't want that, because then it's going to be harder to close the little notebook. So everything fits perfectly. I love that. My crease is not blocked off. And then the middle, let's make sure the middle fits. And if I need to cut off more, I can, but nope. I think this one is actually really good. Let's see. Actually, yeah, let's go 1 more. I think we're gonna go 1 more. Again, I'm gonna put it on the line. Okay. See all those little white pieces? Gonna have to clean all those up. Okay. So this is probably gonna be like a 3-part video or something, again, depending how much I can get done. And I normally don't do my planners this fast because, again, I love, you know, to just really take my time with it. I like the ideas to really flow and come to me, and I don't want to be stressed out because this is fun for me to do. So if I try to do it all in one day, it'll stress me out. Trust me, it'll stress me out. And then it doesn't become fun. All right, cool. So now let's make sure we have a nice little space. Perfect. Do you see how that fits right in between my creases? I love that. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and start gluing everything down. I always like to add the glue on the actual piece that we're gonna be gluing down, and I do the borders, of course. Even though we're gonna be laminating, you wanna make sure that you have adhesive all around the border so that nothing lifts while you're laminating. You know, you will know that I use a lot of glue because I want this to last for a really long time. Okay, so now we're gonna go in, we're gonna tuck in any glue that is sticking out, just like so. Perfect. And then we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit in the middle. Boom. So again, you're gonna start with the edge and work your way in. So just line up the corner, line up the edge, go up very slowly, and then lay it down. Okay. Now you want to check to make sure everything is nice and even. Now I like to do the middle last, so we're gonna go ahead and do the inside. I probably should have, if you're gonna be doing this, make sure that everything is flowing the right way. I've done it where it's like, oh crap, it's upside down. And then you're gonna have to find a way to make it work. So make sure you pay attention to the little details. Luckily, my flowers flow in whatever direction, so it doesn't matter which way I would land. But pay attention to that. You want to make sure all the patterns and the prints are facing the direction that you need them to be facing. Okay. Okay. Again, tuck in any glue that may be sticking out. And then my paper is flowing the right way. Start in the corner. Yes. Beautiful. See, so then when you crease, look at that. It's perfect. If you did it the exact measurement of the cover, it would go here and then it would be a little harder to bend. So I love my method. I feel like it works great. Hopefully you guys can, you know, learn a little bit from it. I hate when this, I feel like my thing is not tight enough anymore, that just have to tighten it up a little bit. Okay. Willie had me buy some Mega Million tickets, so wish us luck, you guys. He's like, I'm gonna buy some every week, and I'm like, okay, let's hope we win the Mega Millions. All right, so make sure everything's flowing in the same direction. Again, you're gonna put it right in between your creases. You're gonna line it up. Look at how perfect that is. Yes! Oh, this gets me so excited. Look at that, you guys. Beautiful. I love it. And here we have such a pretty cover. Our cover is ready. Now the next step is to laminate it. But I'm going to be laminating everything off of camera because it's going to take me forever. So now we're going to go ahead and do all 4 dashboards. And then we'll move into the... I'm not sure how long this video is. I can't really see because because I adjusted my camera to a different angle. Now, I'm going to show you guys a little trick on what I do with this. So again, this is a 12 by 12 paper. I'm going to lay down my mat. You know, somebody had told me, like, don't you think it's time for a new mat? Because yours is kind of like worn down. And I was like, no, it has all of my measurements and I love it. It still works for me. So no, I don't need a new one yet. You know, when you get so, when you like find something that absolutely works for you, you're not ready to replace it. So I'm not ready to replace it. Now, the notebook can be a little tight. You know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to give it a little border. I feel like that looks a little even to me. So my my cover is 8.5. So you could do it exactly 8.5 if you want, but I just go one line down. I don't know why. It's just something that I like to do. So that's my marking there. I know you can't really see because it's black, but my 8.5, and then I'm just gonna go down one line. I don't know why, I like to do that. So now I'm just gonna cut. Usually I do all 4 at once, but I'm just gonna kind of show you guys what I do. There we go. Save your scraps. Now we're gonna do the other ones. Line everything up, make sure everything's lined up perfectly. Again, 8.5, go down one line. 8.5, go down one line. Let's keep it moving. 8.5, go down one line. To the other side. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And one more. Okay. All right, now we're gonna cut. My sister-in-law has some music playing downstairs. Hopefully you can't really hear it. Alright. Okay, so now that we have that, now this is my little trick. Because I don't really need to measure this out. I just line it up on my mat, just like that. I take my notebook. I just give it a little border. I take my paper and I bring it in. And then this is where I line everything up. I draw my line. If you wanted to make this a little pocket, you can totally fold it in and make it a little pocket. That would be cute too. Take that off. And now we're gonna go ahead and take our paper. And this is how I know that all of my dashboards are going to be nice and even. Again, a little trick that I taught myself. You know, these are things that you learn as you make them. Everybody comes up with their own little techniques, and you know, you always want to stick to whatever works best for you. And these are things that I taught myself and they just work for me. So I love doing this method. Oops. Okay. And you want to mark your lines on the inside of your dashboard, not on the outside, just, you know, so that you can avoid erasing anything that's extra. But for the most part, my paper trimmer cuts really good along the crease, so there's really never much for me to erase. So that's kind of why I like using this one. All right, so now we have our 4 dashboards for our 4 books. Ta-da! And then just put them together and they should all be nice and even, right? Yay! All right, so now that we have that ready, set those to the side. I usually don't like to bend them because I already know they're nice and even. So once I'm ready to put on my pom-pom trim and after I've added my pom-pom trim, then I usually just go ahead and fold them. Let's go ahead and do some quick page markers. This is not double-sided paper, so what we're going to do is we're just going to make it double-sided. And I'm going to show you guys an easy trick for that as well. So again, line up your paper. And we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be 8.5. Exactly the same height as my cover. Okay. And then here we have this one. I always like to do 2 page markers. One that has like a little sticky note and then one that has like some sort of like a little pocket. And then one has the, you know, my famous little ribbon. And then the other one has my little word page marker. So that's just kind of why I have 2 sheets of paper. So now we're going to go ahead and cut those. Again, the height for this one is exactly the same height as my cover, which is 8.5 inches. Lots of scraps. Again, save your scraps. I can definitely use it to make like a super cute spring memory Dex card or little embellishments. And I also use my scraps to do die cuts for my actual, you know, tian. That's what I like to do. I like to use the scraps to cut out my die cuts. All right, so now I know that my book is 5 inches, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 5 inches in width or wide, however. That, do that. I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. Okay, now we're not gonna cut. Don't cut. Don't cut. Don't cut. You're gonna take your scoreboard. Let's open this up a little bit. Line it up to your lines. And score. And do the same thing over here. Again, this method just works great for me. If you wanted to use a separate print on the back side, you would definitely have to cut it down. But I'm not going to do that because that's just an extra step that I don't have to do and don't want to do. So then you just fold it. And you're going to do the same thing. Just like that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to the borders. It's so funny because someone once told me, you know, why do you, if you're selling these planners, why do you like share your methods and stuff? And I'm like, because that's the whole point of my YouTube channel, right? Is to share everything that I learn, everything that I create. And either way, you know, even though I've had a lot of people say like, you know, I love your tutorials. They're really easy to follow. And, you know, that's why I love to watch your videos. But they still order planners from me because they, you know, they love the way that I create them. So that's something that, you know, I love. So I love sharing my techniques with you guys. I'm not hogging them for myself, you know, and if you want to buy, you want to buy, right? That's totally up to you, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful for that. No need to be selfish. It's all about sharing, especially, you know, I'm on YouTube, right? This is what I do. This is what my channel is all about. Sharing my creativity with you guys. As long, you know, as you always give credit where credit is due. Alright, so now that we did that, again, we want to align everything, bring it over. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my paper. I'm going to line it up. Boom. Double-sided page marker. Yay! I love that. Super easy. Again, you didn't have to go the extra step to cut anything and do any extra cutouts. It just stick to the same paper. It works, you guys. Alright, so now what we're going to do, instead of using the word topper for that one, for this page marker, I thought it would be super fun to use this little bow die cut that I have. I thought this would be a super cute little page marker. So I'm gonna go, you always want to attach it before you laminate, because if you forget to laminate it, you're kind of stuck. So make sure you always add whatever you're gonna use for your page marker. Bam. Right? Yay! Look at how cute that is. I'm obsessed. I love it. So for this one, I'm going to do it a small corner round. Perfect. Look at you guys. That's so cute. I love that. Okay, and then for this one, I'm going to go ahead and just do the larger corner round, because I'm only going to add ribbon to this one. And then you're also going to punch your hole in the middle. You don't want to wait until you laminate it, because then it becomes thicker and then it just becomes a little harder. I just eyeball everything, you know. Bam. And now my page marker for my ribbon is ready. Woohoo! Okay, so now we have that. We have one more. We're going to do a folder, and then I think we're done for this video. I know you guys are probably thinking, oh my gosh, you're going to leave me hanging. No, I promise I'll be back with the next few videos. Maybe it'll take me a little bit, but I'm doing my best, you guys. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. My folder, it's going to be the same. I have 8.5 inches. I'm going to go down one line because I have to remember that I'm laminating. Maybe I should go down 2 lines. Yeah, let's go down 2 lines. Because I'm laminating and I'm going to end up with a little border. Okay. So now we're going to cut. Okay. So now my notebook is 5 inches, but my folder is going to be a little bit smaller. So it's going to be 4.5, a little over 4.5 inches. Again, you have to take in consideration that you're laminating. So I'll show you guys. That's where my marking is. So that's the 4.5, and then you have my marking right there. Come on, focus. Can you see that? Okay, perfect. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and crease. This is the fun part, just watching everything come together. But the best part is decorating. For me, it's adding the pom-pom trim. Okay, so now I'm gonna fold. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my cover and I'm gonna see how my folder is gonna fit in. Perfect. You see how there's a little border on all around? You want to make sure you do that. It's the top, the bottom, make sure you have a little border around your cover, because again, you have to take into consideration that you're going to be laminating and you're going to have to leave a little border in order, you know, for your folder to stay nice and closed. So I just put that on the edge. I'm going to score at the 1/8. Cute. I love that it has that, because then I could do like a little word here, or I can decorate the bottom. You could also add washi tape on the edge, but make sure you add the washi tape before you laminate if you want a little border. But I like it. I love how all the flowers are just like detailed right there together. And that's pretty much it, you guys. That's the folder. If you want to round your corners, do that now. There we go. And that's my folder. So let's just go over quickly everything we did. We have our cover, which is double-sided. Then we have 2 page markers. We have our first page marker and then our ribbon page marker. We made sure to round all of our corners. We have 4 dashboard covers for our 4 notebooks. So these are all of my prints. I always, something that I like to note, I always like to do 1 print, something a little solid, a print, and then it could be a print but on the lighter version. So I like to do that. And then my famous little folder. So we are good to go, you guys. We're good for the next steps. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more and you want to see how this turns out, definitely make sure you stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so that when I upload the video, you don't miss out. And as always, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. I love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!